everyone, Jess here from the Scrappy Sisters with a Confessions of a Paper Addict design team layout. So I am using the gorgeous stitched squares Love You cut file. Now I cut these squares on a 6 by 8 inch pieces of paper. They were from the Vicky Bouton paper pad, and I'm pretty sure it was 6 by 8, and I miscalculated my measurements, and as you can see, these bottom squares that I'm sticking on right now, I miscounted those or miscalculated those, so they're actually only half a square. I wasn't going to use them, but in the end I have included them and have stuck them at the very bottom of the page as if they are literally falling off the page. You can see that I have done a hand-stitched border all the way around the edge of my piece of paper. I just pierced those holes myself using a ruler and a needle. You absolutely could put it into your silhouette and pierce them using your machine, but I just did those by hand. I have also pierced along the center of the word love you and the kiss hug shape. Again, I just hand pierced those and have stitched those through, and I've popped those up on foam. So hopefully that will become a bit more clear when I'm working on a full square as opposed to a little half square. So you can see here, there is the stitch square with the U that is being cut out and the O and the Y, and I was unsure at first if I was going to leave them like that with that inside piece out, or if I wanted to do something with that cut out inside piece, and I decided I wanted to keep the inside piece. I was going for a really subtle look to this layout, and I'm basically putting that piece exactly back where it belongs, but I've popped it up on foam. So from this angle directly overhead, it's quite difficult to see the sort of the shadow and the dimension, but obviously I'll have some close-up photos at the end of this clip, of this video, but hopefully you can see as the layout progresses the sort of the dimension there that's happening around each of the letters. And again, it's hard to see, but I have done a stitch line all the way around the edge of the love heart and all the way along the center of the Y, O, and U. So again, that does help it stand out just a tiny bit more. The stitching is super subtle. I chose to just do a straight back stitch using a sort of cream colored thread to tie in with the Vicky Bouton sort of cream tones that she uses for her colors there. So really, really subtle. I'm going for a really simple layout. This is not over embellished. This is just letting the stitching and the beautiful love heart paper and the photograph do all of the talking. So as you can see, the paper's got this gorgeous sort of love heart effect. It does have that, but I was meaning to say rainbow effect, and that's why in the end I decided to keep that half a square down the bottom of the page, because I really liked the color, the way the colors finished off, and I wanted to include it. So I'd love to see this in 12 by 12 size, because I think it would be just stunning. So I only have the 6.5 by 8 size though, because it's a little bit cheaper to post that to Australia than to post a full 12 by 12. So here we are, just filling in the last of these. So obviously off camera, I cut little tiny bits of foam and pre-stuck those to the back of each of these letters to sort of try and make the process a little bit quicker on video. It's still fairly slow with me just pulling the double-sided tape off, so sort of trying to get there. I've also pre-backed my photo with a sort of black color from the paper pad. It's got a bit of a pattern to it, but you can hardly tell, and then another sort of rainbow color. It's the honeycomb paper with the rainbow color, if you're familiar with this collection. Now the original cut file didn't have this many blank squares. They had other beautiful shapes that were cut out of them, like a balloon and things like that. I decided for this particular layout that wasn't the look I wanted. I just wanted the kiss hug, the love heart, and that kind of thing. So I've just kept it a little bit more simple for me, I think, by having those 2 blank squares in the top row and 2 blank squares in the bottom row. So you can sort of see on the word love the shadow sticking out a little bit more there to make it a bit more clear that these letters have been popped up on foam. When it came to embellishing this layout, which obviously you'll see in a moment, it was a little bit challenging and a little bit not. The challenging part was to stop myself from doing too much. I really wanted this to be a minimalist layout, and that is quite unusual for me. I usually do sort of embellishment clusters and do a little bit more on my page, and I did find it a little bit tricky to do less. Did it look finished? Did it look enough? Am I sure this is okay? Don't I need more? I probably need more. But I think I did pretty well at keeping it really simple. And as I said, letting the papers and the colours and the cut file do all of the talking. So just popping this up on foam. As you can see, I've matted my photo with a bunch of scrap paper just to try and utilise as much of my paper as I can. I notice with matting, if you need to sort of piece a few pieces together, you tend to not notice because mats can be so skinny that it's harder to tell. So that's what I did. So I'm going to put that super gorgeous little honey jar with the flowers in it as a really big, sort of a big piece of embellishing along the side there. Just sticking those down flat, but with the flowers I'm actually only putting glue at the very bottom of the stem underneath the jar, just because I want the actual flower itself to fall where it needs to fall without having too much glue all over it, causing it to get too sticky and not falling in the right spot. Then popping on my photo, and then I'm going to get the sticker pad from the same collection, and I'm going to just add a little bit down the side of the photo. I'm just going to layer up I suppose it's washi, but they're not, they're stickers down the side of the photo. This is a little black one with spots on it, and this is a little pink one with little teeny tiny love hearts. Super cute. I noticed that it wasn't sticking all that well, so I do end up adding a little bit of glue to it also. Pop a little tag down the side of the photo. And I was reading through the words. There weren't a lot of words that really sort of matched the layout of the idea of this photograph or the story behind this photograph. So I ended up just going with the word record, because I think that matches almost anything that you're doing in a scrapbook page. You're recording the story. So as I said, the sticker's really not staying, so I'm going to add a little bit of glue to that. I find with some of the sort of thicker, heavier quality stickers, they don't often stick all that well. So, you get one good thing and you have to take the bad with it, I suppose. I love that the stickers are heavier quality, but I just have to add a little bit of glue behind them. The cardstock that I'm using, I have no idea. I've had it in my collection for a very long time, but it is kind of like a charcoal color. It's not black, but it's grey. So adding on a few more embellishments now. I do want to warn you, when you look at my close-up photos at the end, that big giant arrow did not make the cut. Just sticking with that concept of doing less is more. And in the end, when I was looking back on my layout at the end before I took the photos, I just decided that black arrow just didn't really go with the mood and feel of this particular layout, for with the background being grey and not black for a start, and then I don't know, it just kind of stuck out a little bit. So I think it would have been fine to stay there, but in the end I chose to take it off. Then I decided to use some of the gorgeous love hearts that are on this sticker sheet and not colour match. I decided to use the 4 sort of main colours that are in each of the squares, but to spread those colours out. So just making sure I'm evenly spacing those, putting them down each little sort of join line, and having all 4 of the main colours represented on the page. I then decide that they need enamel dots, so I go into my stash and find an enamel dot that is sort of the same colour as each of the little love hearts, and I do colour match those up as sort of best that I can, just to add to that look. And then I'm just about done. I will pull out the gold Heidi Shine and have a few little splashes onto this page, because we all know how much I love some gold Heidi Shine. Apologies if you can hear the background. That is a joyful noise, I assure you, not a sad or agony noise. He is probably singing. Singing and shouting is a very fine line in our house. So here we go. Here are the close-ups here, and you can see that that arrow has been taken off. You can also see the shadow underneath each of the letters, and just how much dimension there is going on this page. You can see all the beautiful stitching. So I hope you have enjoyed this layout. Check the description box for any links you might need, and thank you so much for watching. Bye everyone.